are going to go ahead and we'll start this up right now. I've got a guest that's very familiar to me. If you've been in the industry, he's very familiar to all of us. And you know, I've got his resume in front of me, and he's an incredible guy, and he's got quite the resume. So I'll have him go through some of this. But the guy is he's a great guy, somebody that's really fun to be around. And we wanted to come in and just kind of share with all of you some insight on building your business up right now. So before I go into this and let Yancy loose on this, is, you know, I want to tell you, is I put a picture of a dragster up here for a reason. Is no brakes. Is right now, man, you've got to launch into this with the idea that you're going to continue to market and continue to build your brand and brand awareness and take advantage of this time, as Yancy's going to cover today. It's not a time to put the brakes on. It's not a time to take, even if you're shut down, that doesn't mean that your brakes have got to be on. That doesn't mean that you can't be visible. So I'm really excited when Yancy and I talked earlier this week or last week to come onto this. It was really a time for me to realize he's going to bring some stuff to you that you probably haven't thought of and maybe haven't heard. And so I think this is going to be a fun one. So a little background on Yancy. We met, man, how many years? We've known each other for well over a decade, right?
Oh, definitely over a decade. I was trying to think of that too last night, and it goes way back to, I think, the very first time that you came to one of the detail fests over there at Auto Geek, when we first moved in to the new building over there. I think that was when we met, because you were running a couple classes out of that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. So jump into us. You're a kid from Wyoming. How does a kid from Wyoming end up in Florida? So go back and tell us, you know, kind of your background and what was the young you like? What were you into at 10 years old? What was the young kid totally into at 10?
Oh God, if my parents aren't here, oh my God, they might learn some things. I was a little hellacious little one when I was little. But what do you call it? Art was always something that I was always into. I remember when I was in kindergarten, I even quoted in my high school yearbook that I wanted to be the best color inside the lines and so forth. So I was always into art. Took it all the way up through, except for my 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. I didn't like the art teacher that I had at my junior high. So I ended up doing art, but not doing art through the art classes. I passed all my friends in their art classes, so I did all their assignments. Wow. That's how I made a little extra money. Then when I got back up into high school, the original art teacher that I had in not in junior high, but in elementary school and stuff, he started teaching high school. And I owe pretty much my entire career to Chris Amon. He is my art teacher from day one till I graduated high school. He pushed me further than anything I've ever did before. My senior year, I was pretty much lived in the art room. I even had my own classes where I had to come up with my own curriculum and pass that to the school board, get that approved, so that way I'd be able to have my own class. So I was always doing art. When I was 16, I got kicked out of art shows as an amateur. They made it where I had to become a professional. So at 16, I turned professional in the fine art world. That's what I went to college for. I went to the University of Wyoming for a little while. Then I realized that if you're a fine artist, you either got to be in the right place at the right time to make it, or you got to be dead. And I realized I wanted to live life, and I wanted to be able to eat. So that's when I switched gears and I left college, accepted a job as a silkscreen artist, and started doing freelance work on the side. Realized I started making a little bit of money. Then I went back to college down in Albuquerque, New Mexico, went to an art center down there. And that's where I graduated with my BA in advertising and marketing. And that's pretty much the bread and butter that, you know, any artist that if you want to make money on a continual basis and not such a hit and miss little area, advertising is the best way to go. Everybody's selling something. Everybody's got to have something printed, something made, logos, this, that. It's everywhere. So that's what I decided. I wanted to eat. I wanted to afford things. And here I am today.
Now, sitting behind you, I can't stop looking at it, is you've got some, no, the other way. The other way.
Oh, my toys.
Yeah, look at that. So explain that a little bit.
Yeah, we're in my office slash playroom. Let's see if I can move this around without disconnecting. There's my drum set over there.
Ah,
Then I have all my guitars back behind there. If it isn't art, music, or cars and motorcycles, I kind of don't do the stuff. But when I do it, I go all in. As you can tell, I have all my guitars hanging back behind me. This is my desk. My computer's right over here. So, I mean, it's my play area. I get paid to play is what I tell people.
I love it, man. Well, you know what? It's and I've seen you intense before. Uh, because you've got a
Ooh.
busy schedule when I see you. A lot of times you're moving very quickly, but most of the time you're one of those guys that it's hard to find you without a smile on your face. And
Hey, life's too short. I mean, life is way too short to be, frowning and everything like that. That's why every day on my Facebook, I post a thing Monday through Friday. Weekends are mine, but Monday through Friday, I'll go on first thing in Facebook and post something that'll make somebody smile or make somebody laugh. And when I miss a day, I hear about it. I get an inbox full of messages. Hey, you all right? You okay today? So I try to make everybody laugh and smile at least once a day.
I go when I'm on Facebook, I go to yours and I go to my wife's because between the two of you, you're going to
We
have
have the same sense of humor.
you do. So it's pretty cool. So now, a lot of us know you from Auto Geek, but you've got a lot of clients and business associates outside of just Auto Geek. Auto Geek, you've done a lot with. It's just been an awesome time to get to know the entire team. But explain to us, I mean, you do a lot of business with a lot of other people and have throughout your career. So kind of share a little bit about that with us.
Yeah, I have worked with tons of people. AutoGeek is one of my major clients that I have. I have, right now I have a few clients that I work with. I have a custom bike builder that I work with, Austin Weiss. He's youngest Hall of Fame member of the Bike Builders Hall of Fame or whatever. He has 3 different businesses. He has a sign business, a car and motorcycle building shop. Then he also has an ammo shop. So I've been helping him out with some of his things, which he's a great guy. Austin's a really good guy. Either I'm polishing on his cars or I'm helping him with his signs. So it's a little bit of everything. Then, I've worked with a lot of the major players in this industry. I've got a film with McGuire's 3D. You guys have came down quite a few times. I've shot with you, PNS, Buff and Shine, Lake Country. I get exposed to a lot of it, and which is to me the upside of being in the advertising world or being in a medium or a job where you get to interact with people, because then you get to meet people from all over different walks of life. And this job has been I've been lucky, I guess you could call it blessed, that I've got to travel the world with this job too, seeing other countries and seeing different cultures and stuff. And it's kind of neat, but the major companies that I've worked with, I pretty much named majority of them: Zerna, Jess Carr, CBS Radio. I did stuff for CBS Radio. They were one of my clients there for a while. I did stuff for a local radio station here. And that was one of the things when I was a kid. My mom would always sit me down in front of the albums. My dad had this major album collection, old vinyl, that's where I got kind of turned on to music. Dad had me in the Kiss Army and all that other stuff. But I remember sitting there looking at these albums and just being fascinated by their artwork. And I was like, one of these days I'm going to have my artwork on one of these albums. Well, flash forward 20 years, I get hired on by CBS Radio to take over one of their websites down here, design that, work with the radio station. It was Buzz 103 down here. Then I also got to do all the t-shirts and swag stuff that they sold at their big festival that they put on every year. So that I bartered out for tickets, backstage passes, VIPs. That was totally awesome. I got to meet all my bands, all my, everybody that I kind of idolized in the music industry. I got to see a lot of them. So it was a really cool gig. So I've had some really awesome clients in my past.
That's pretty cool. Well, with that, let's jump into this a little bit. And we talked about that. So we, I am stuck.
You're going backwards.
I'm going backwards. I don't know why I'm doing that. So let's talk for a second about logos. You and I talked about this. A lot of people are talking about what they can do with their business, but they're thinking like, big stuff. is talk about a logo fresh, kind of a remodel or a reface of a logo. Now's a great
Yeah.
time to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, hate to say it, but there's not just this industry, not just the car detailing industry or manufacturing industry also. But what do you call it? There's a lot of industries, there are little mom and pop shops and everything out there that maybe did their logos back in the 80s, and maybe their grandson did it when they're 4. Like, oh, that's going to be a sweet little logo. Yeah, it's emotional and everything, but just frame it, put it on the wall, and get a professional to do it. So that
Right.
way you look professional. Is it, is it dated? I mean, if you look, Apple has redid their logo, McDonald's has redid their logo, Starbucks, all the major players vamp their logo to fit with the times. So that's one of the things that I talk with a lot of my clients, especially if I've got a new client coming in, and I'll see their logo is like very 90s or 80s dated. It's one of the first things that I'll do is like, your logo is going to be the thing that people are going to recognize and be branded with. I don't want to change it totally going away from everything, but what if we update it to the 90s? I mean, from the 90s to nowadays, 2020. So if you ever look online, you can look and see the evolution of some of these major companies, Microsoft, all these major players. They change their logos to fit with the time. It's like every 10 years, maybe do a little tweak on it, but it just makes it where you look fresh. You're concurrent. You're not standing back in history. You're actually evolving, and your customers kind of look at that way. It's like, hey, look, they're evolving too, so they obviously are keeping up with all the latest trends and everything like that within your industry.
No, I like it. And, right now is a great time because you go to fiverr.com or other sites that, you don't have to spend huge money. You can spend a modest amount. Now, if you want just a super over the top and you want all the different options to it, meaning that you can have, something transparent, something one color, something another color, you get what you pay for. Uh,
Yeah.
Now's a good time to network with logo producers and so forth, and go through and do those kind of things. It's downtime, is you and I were talking about earlier, is that there's things that we haven't done in our business in years that we're now taking, we wanted to do, we should have done, but we
Yeah.
didn't do it. You
Guilty.
know?
Yeah, when I was telling you, is when I was going through my writing up notes for this, I was like, started looking at myself. I'm like, you know what? I better, practice what I preach. I'm kind of
Right.
behind the times on some of the stuff myself, but I do it all day long for everybody out there. And when it comes around to doing my own website and my social media and stuff for my business, yeah, I've been a little lax-daisy on that. So guilty as charged.
Yeah, man, me too. So now let's talk about, let's go. Boy, I don't know why this is doing this. I've got a weird, it's just not acting up, or it's not acting normal for some reason. So website, let's talk about time to update your website.
It
So,
goes right along with what we were just talking about. Yes, it truly does. If you have a website that you created, say, old HTML, really strict, small when it shows up on regular screens, it's really small. A lot of things have changed for the better, and it's time. If you got nothing else to do right now, might as well look at that copy, look at those pictures. Did you have a bad camera back then? Technology is advanced, should be able to update your website. And if you can't, there's, like we were just talking, there's freelance artists out there, kids straight out of college. My son's one of them, that is looking for work, and you can work with them. They're looking to get something in their portfolio, so they're not going to charge you an agency price, but yet, it's something that you can look into, but go ahead. I didn't mean to interject on you, but
no, you didn't. This is what we're gonna. So what's your take? What's your take? Are you a WordPress guy, or what do you think? If somebody's going to build a new website or redesign a website, what platform would you be putting it on?
that's like the first thing I ask them is like, are you familiar with websites? And if they tell me no, the second question I ask them is, can you run Office? Can you run Word? And they're like, yeah, I can do that. Okay. So you can format bold, you can do this. Like, yeah, okay. So that's when I refer them over to a WordPress site, because that is one of the most easy sites to set up. On the back side of it, it is pretty much just like being our Microsoft Word or word processing program. It codes it all. So there's really not a lot of thinking that you have to do except for the content that you're putting in. Then, like me personally, when I set somebody up on a WordPress site, I will make them templates. Then I teach them, here's all you have to do is create this, create a comment and post it away. But if you are like, say you have an e-commerce and you're wanting to sell products, sell goods, or book things on there, I would steer more towards the Shopify or was it the BigCommerce sites, because they're pretty much the same as WordPress on the back end, but they have better functionality with e-commerce. Where WordPress e-commerce, the plugins sometimes don't jive, and you end up having issues with updates and everything. So if you're going to go e-commerce, go to an e-commerce site, Shopify, BigCommerce, something like that. If you're just going to be strictly like a what I call them, like a billboard site, where it's just about us, pictures, this is what we can offer you, contact us now page, then I'd go with more of a WordPress Joomla type site on that side.
Gotcha. So with that, what about landing pages? Do you believe that, I mean, okay, so you've got a primary website. Can you build specially, let's say that you're, you know, you're a detailer or you're a window tinter, whatever it may be, PDR, aftermarket works, you have other, or you offer all those services in one shop. Could you build landing pages, a small short landing page about each one of those that kind of links back to your primary page?
Yes, you can do that, which is, that's perfect. Everybody thinks pretty much that you can only have one URL to a website. So say you have abc.com, abcdetailing.com. All right, but you also have the PPE, or the PPE, that you can tell what's on my brain lately.
Yeah, right.
The paint protection film and stuff, you have that going, you know, or you have window tinting. Well, you can have a URL for each one of those devices, you know, for each one. Then you can have it where it's pointing just to that one page, but yet you can have where it's going to your landing page. You know, so you can have a landing page just for your tint. You can have a landing page just for your car care and stuff. So it just depends on where you're advertising and what market that you're trying to get to. But then you can also have your main landing page, you know, say it's ABC detailing and more, or whatever your URL would be.
So let's
But you
talk
can
about
have,
what about a blog? Do you suggest that people blog on their website?
I do. And the main reason for that is it builds content. That's one of the major things right now that there for a while people got away from it. And now people are realizing that having a blog on their website creates more content and more reason for that person to stay and interact with your website, instead of taking off, oh, okay, he's just offering blah, blah, blah service. Okay, I'm out of here. But if you have all your services on there, but yet, hey, here's some tips and tricks on how to keep your car clean, or here's how you can reduce the glare in your windows, blah, blah, then that gives them a reason to come back to your website, which means there's more chances that you're going to sell them on something or get a booking from them. So you want to build that interaction, you know, and that's pretty much what all social media and e-commerce and, you know, websites are really starting to do, is they're starting to tie everything together. Because there for a while is website here, social media here. They never really talked with one another. You know, just this was telling you to go here and this was telling you to go here. Well, now what people have realized, and Google and Yahoo and Bing and everything like that started ranking people, is on how much content you actually have on your website. So if you have a blog here that's talking about car care, and you have a site, you know, over here that's talking about how to care for your car and that we can do it. So now the spiders are going through the internet and they're like, hey, he's talking about it here, he's talking about it here. This guy must really be knowledgeable about that. So let's send that customer here, so that way they can talk about it and understand everything that's on the site is about car care. In result, you'll rank higher up in the organic SEO.
You know, I was really back into blogging, and I was one of those that gave it up. And we just really, we built our new site last year, and we're really active. You know, right before all this went down, we started getting active. Chris did. So it's good to hear that. Now, size of a website. You know, our original site, get this, was like $2,000 to build. And I think it was like 4 pages. You know, you're talking back in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And then you know, we did updates. We built our main page that was probably with us for about 10 years, was one that I built. And it was huge. I mean, it was massive. So now our site's a lot more
Streamline.
Yeah, streamlined, easy to navigate. For a detailer, for a small business, what pages do you think is important for them to have?
A landing page.
Okay.
And like, especially if you do like a WordPress site, you can have a one page where they come to your site, then it'll give them the main info. Then as they scroll, then it'll bring up, these are the features that we offer. Then as they scroll a little bit more, here's some packages that we offer. Then they scroll a little bit more, there may be a photo gallery, of your work. And they scroll up a little bit more, there'll be a contact us. So that'll be all on one page. But each one of those sections, you can click on it and it'll take them over to that section where it opens it up. So that way you get better for SEO, having all this content on one page. Then having separate pages inside there is also gaining more on SEO. But the ones that I would suggest would be a landing page, an about us page, your services that you offer, and a contact us. Then a blog, some sort of interaction with your social media.
Is that cool or what? Look what exactly I had down. You and I, exact same pages, and we didn't even talk about it. And here's a thing that I want to suggest too, especially after this whole episode with the coronavirus and what's going on, is that we built a company that one of our locations we're doing over $1 million a year. We built that off of trust and relationships, and
Sure.
I think you're going to see the importance of trust and relationships. So to your point, to have an about me is that even to have, if you're a small operator, let's say that you're Yancy, and I go to his website, and instead of it says about us or about me, it says about Yancy or learn about Yancy. That's going to take and really be for me as a consumer, I'm going to hone in on that because it's going to make me feel like I am going to deal with the main dude. So,
Exactly.
would you agree with that? That's kind
I
of
totally agree with that. I would do, like especially if you're a one-man shop like me, what do you call it? I try to make it as personal as me. So that way, when you're talking to my company, you're talking to me. If you're on my social presence anywhere, about me, because
I
I'm
love that.
basically selling me to you and the reason why you should hire me. So I have to give you all the confidence that you possibly can on the reason why you can hire. Same thing with detailers. You go out there, cars are, I think we said, I don't know how many times Mike have said it and stuff in the past, but a car is probably the second most highest purchase a person will ever make in their life. So yet you're trying to gain that person's trust to handle and touch this investment that these people have. And some of these, you detailed, $1 million cars and stuff like that.
Right.
So this is the type of things that you have to build trust. And when you get the trust, it's gravy from there. People trust you and they're going to refer you, and like I always tell people, if you get one referral from a person, that's awesome. So that means you're doing good. But if you do bad, guess what? That guy's going to go out and tell all of his friends, because kind of weird how that works. If
Yeah.
you do bad, they're going to tell everybody. If you do good, they're only going to tell their select few people because they want to have it where it's kind of like an insider thing. I wish it went the other way, but it doesn't.
No, you're exactly right. Well, that's hugely important. Let's say this. So this is a big one to me. This is newsletters. This is something
Mm-hmm.
that I really, and man, I'll tell you, when we did our kind of debrief or briefing before we came on today, is that you nailed this. It was already on here, but you put it on there, and it made me really like hone in on it because newsletters. Let's talk about somebody that I'm familiar with that you do business with, AutoGeek.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to get their newsletters.
Good.
AutoGeek's one of those ones that I really look forward to getting. And, talk about the importance of a newsletter and what it can do for your business.
Well, a newsletter keeps the interaction between you and your customer. All right. Like e-commerce shops like AutoGeek and Jegs and, anywhere that Amazon, you get even newsletters from Amazon nowadays. They keep you informed on, products and sales and everything like that so you can save money. But at the same time, you can use those as educational tools, say, hey, especially if, say you have a group of customers that did a coding, so you'd send a newsletter to those coding people. Hey, your car's freshly coated. Here's a way to wash your car safely before you bring it in for us to, do another detail on it or something. And so that way it's education. So that way, when the emails come in their mailbox, they don't just tune out. They're like, hey, there might be something in that for me, and then they might share that with another buddy. So it's always a good touch point when you're talking with your customers, or especially when you're trying to get them back. you can offer, well, right now I probably wouldn't be offering too many discounts. But it's because everyone's kind of hurting for a little bit for money. But you just say, hey, after this is all over, we're here for you. We'll help you out in any way that I can. So I mean, it is a definite powerful tool, and I can't stress high enough. Even if it's just an email to your customer base, if you can't afford the MailChimp or the List Track or vertical response newsletter agencies where you go in there and they send it out to thousands of people, even if you only have like 50 clients, type up an email, send it out, put a picture on it. I mean, that's the same as a newsletter, basically.
It is, and the important part is right now, I just posted right before we came on this, I posted it to the Detail Mafia, a really cool link to be sharing within their newsletter. Right now, we're talking about just educate your clients. Don't try to get money out of them. Just let them know you're there. And it's a great time not to sell anything because, I think if you take that approach that, if you're still open, they could come to you. If you're closed off, this is a great asset, a newsletter to explain why you closed down your business and kind of explain to them it's best for, them, for you, for your family, their family, and the community. It's a great way to take and communicate and come back. The other thing I like about it too in a newsletter is the fact that so many detailers, and it's really naive, is they're constantly searching for new client bases. Well, your existing client base is the most important asset that you've got.
Yeah.
Why not remarket back to them? They've already spent money with you and trust you.
Exactly. And that is one thing that is so hard for people to get their head around a little bit. I've battled that with a lot of clients. They're like, oh, I want to keep gaining, keep gaining, keep gaining. I'm just like, well, we can keep going after that. Let's use this much of your budget to go after that new client. But let's use this much of the budget to cultivate the people that you already have. Then the repeat customers are your bread and butter. They're the ones that are going to be coming back. You can spend all this money, have maybe a 2% return on, the money that you're spending out, where you could have like a 40% return if you just cultivate what you already have, and watch that grow. Because as you treat them good, they're going to talk, then slowly it just builds.
Absolutely. Hey, for a second, go back. One thing I forgot to note on the website thing is go back and change your copyright date. A lot of people don't, I go back to websites and it's like copyright, 2009. And it's like, when's the last time you guys were on your website,
2009.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so for people that are OCD like me that go and look at that stuff, it just tells me if you're viable and you're active, if the information on your website's bullshit or if it's up to date,
Yeah,
So,
no, it's very true. I mean, this is one of the, I'll get some clients in, and God love them. I love them all. But they're like, oh yeah, we update our site all the time. We update our site all the time. All right. Then they give me the job. Okay. All right. I need access to the back end. I go and look at the modified dates on their homepage, and it was like 1998. It's like, yeah, you've been updating all that time.
Exactly. And so sorry to take you back on that, but that's just a pet peeve
That's
of
all
mine.
good.
I didn't do it. So that's great information. So a newsletter, is I'll tell you, my wife, when we were running shops, she called it our $3,000 sales day. And it started out as nothing. We ran our newsletter for probably several months before we really started getting business off of it. And then it took us really a year because we had to get our message down,
Mm-hmm.
So we say a couple things in your newsletters. Tell them what you're going to tell them. So in the opening paragraph, tell them what's in the newsletter. Get them excited.
Exactly.
Jim Gogan shared with me, and Jim. Jim's got a great way that we've kind of both built our newsletters over the years, is that we want to take and tell them what you're going to tell them. We want to educate them. We want to create a little bit of entertainment, and then we want to take and spur them on with our offer. And so we break it up into those 4 sections, and it works really well. If you're just selling,
People tune you out.
It's a coupon. You know what I'm saying? It's a coupon. But if you educate, I think it's really key to just keep it to where it's a little bit of entertaining, a little bit of everything, where it's interesting. I've actually got about 10 newsletters that I get. And one of the things is that I like about the newsletters is they're consistent. I know when I'm going to get them, the day I'm going to get them, and usually the time I'm going to get them. And I sit with my coffee and I do this. And I wait for the newsletter to come in because there's some of them I really, really enjoy. And sometimes I get very little out of it, but I still enjoy reading them. sometimes I get a little bit of fairy dust on them, and then sometimes I'm able to pull, gold nuggets out of them.
Yeah,
And
no, I'm glad that you brought that up. I don't mean to interject you there, but that is so true. I mean, you're gonna hear me repeat that a couple of times, especially when it comes to the social media and stuff. If you have something, you've got to work it. It's not lightning in a bottle. You do it once, next day you're gonna have, $1 million in sales. It's something that you got to continually work, adapt it, spin it a little bit. But that thing is about setting up certain times. If you're going to have a newsletter going out to your clients, maybe send it on a Monday or a Wednesday. So that way they know, just like you sitting there with your coffee, they know that it's coming. And that is the best way to train your customers to tune into you.
absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So
Hey
let's go.
guys, can I interrupt real quick?
Absolutely.
I had a question on Facebook from Robert Robinson. He wanted to know what your recommendations are for asking your clients for their email address. Like how to best approach it.
Ooh, boy. Yancy, go for it.
I just ask. I'm blunt. I would just ask. It's like, hey, or you have a place on your website. Hey, would you like to receive a newsletter? Sign up here. People are more than that. This day and age is kind of commonplace. I mean, you go into any store in the mall or anything like that, they always ask you, do you have an email address? Do you want to be part of our thing? It's commonplace now. So I would just set up, a newsletter section on your website, sign up for our newsletter to receive promos and, information and tech tips and so forth like that. I mean, don't be afraid to ask. I would never be afraid to ask.
Robert, one of the things that we do is we take in at the end of whatever service for every level of service. So we had 3 levels of PDFs. We would say we called it, now you got a detail, now what? You got a detail, now what? And what it was a little guide, a written guide that we'd send them out in a PDF form that we designed, and it told them how to take care of their car after the detail. It answered questions. So what I did, Robert, is I'd say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, I've got a little guide that I'd love to email you. It's free, and I'll send it out, and it tells you the do's and don'ts following your detail. And it's a great little hook. It's a great way to give more value to your service while being able to take and get an email address. So
yeah, very good.
But here's the deal: is even before that, I was like Yancy, I just asked for it. So in this section, I hope that helps, Robert. So in this section right here, social media targeted advertising, I want to go into social media period.
We can wrap it all together.
Yeah, and so before I do that, I don't even know if Chris knows that. That was my 1972 Scout, International Scout. And I regret, I sold that Scout. It had 27,000 original miles on it. I sold it in the late 90s. Late 90s, probably 97, 98, somewhere right in there, to expand our business. But that was my baby, man. Is that a cool truck or what? I wish I had that.
I have memories of that. One of my buddies, when I was in high school, David Bennett, he had an old Scout. And those things would climb a wall like this. And the thing is he had the back seat in there, and we turned it around so it'd be facing the back, but it wasn't bolted in. So when you start going up, you would slide down the seat. Oh my God, it was so much fun. But we're young and crazy kids, so it was what we did.
I bought this from a guy up in Seattle, and it still had the plastic covers on the seats.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was probably 25 years old when I bought it. And I didn't do much damage to it because it was fresh snow, but I actually rolled it. I was coming back from a trip we had. It was about 34 below zero. I didn't have it in four-wheel drive because there wasn't snow on the road, but it felt like it was getting
black ice.
Yeah, I hit black ice, and it went over, and it went end over end and landed on its top. And believe it or not, I wanted to paint it anyway. The only thing that was damaged was the top. Everything else, there wasn't a dent in it. I mean, the thing was just a tank. And so I repainted it and found a replacement top that was factory, and there it goes. So let's dive into social media. So, some do's and don'ts with social media. Let's go over that first. What do you think of some things that you want to do and don't want to do on social media?
Don't be political. Don't be religious. Don't do anything that's going to cause a little rough. You may think one way, you may believe one way. The public that has the money that's going to pay you, they're going to tune you out really quick. So keep it professional. That is the biggest thing that I can say is keep it professional. Politics, religion, sex, all that other stuff stays out of there. It's just business. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Even on your
that would be
personal
the biggest
brand too, you've got to be careful with you got to remember, you might have a business page, but even on your personal page, people are watching you. And so
Yep.
you,
especially this day and age.
oh yeah. And so, and then I'd probably add in there too. I think those are all great points is don't go after people right now. The Jason Rose said it the other day is social shaming, is,
I call them keyboard cowboys.
yeah, right. Boy, there's a lot of them, aren't there? And if they came out of the woodwork, it was like the Walking Dead the last 2 weeks with zombies coming out of everywhere. And I say that I'm talking shit, but I mean, we just can't help that fact. So try not to draw fire on yourself.
Yes.
Try to be Switzerland. I think.
Well, here's the thing. You can, if you're like, say you're in a board, because I'm in a bunch of different Facebook groups. Okay. And I moderate a couple different Facebook groups. And I get this all the time. People are on one side of the fence. People are on the other side of the fence. You can agree to disagree. All right. That is what open speech is all about. But say what you mean. Just don't say it mean. I mean, I tell it to my kids and I have to tell it to people on the net. You can talk, you can discuss, just don't be mean about it. That's the biggest thing.
Oh, and I think that we've seen it, I've used my finger a lot the last 2 weeks to go delete, block,
Lock,
or explode, and so I think you just hit that all on the head. So now a lot of people ask, hey, I've got a Facebook page or I got an Instagram. Why do I need a website?
You do. SEO, people still go to the web. I mean, if they're going to look at a company, they're going to see it on Facebook. If you're like me and probably 90% of the other people out there, you're going to go to abc.com because I saw an ad or I saw a post on Facebook. So yeah, you go and then you research.
Confirmation.
Exactly. Make sure it's a legit company. So the thing that you want is on social media, you want to be able to stay constant on there. Same thing. If you're going to post daily, post at the same time. So that way people can always see it in their feed and so forth. Don't always be sales. There's a rule that I tell people, especially on social media, 70% content, 30% sale. So for every 7 posts that you do, 1 post or for a sale, or trying to get money from them, because you don't want to tune them out. And so you want to keep that pretty close to a 70-30. I like it even more 80-20 on social, because then it doesn't feel like all you're after is money. I mean, there's enough people on there that's all that they do.
I agree. So now let's talk about targeted advertising.
Okay.
Let's go back real quick before I get into targeted advertising. How often should you be posting on your business page and on your personal page? Do you think what's not enough and when's too much?
Well, on your personal page, I would say you can do whatever you want on your personal. Me, I do it once in the morning. But for a business page, I post once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the evening. Then do that for a month. Okay. And then you can start to see where people are tuning in. You can go into your insights, especially on Facebook, you can go into your insights and see when most of your audience is there. Okay. So then if they're there at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. All right. So now you don't need a post, say you're posting at 7 in the morning. Now you pretty much, all right, there's nobody there. So I'm going to stop that post. I'll just do another post. Do 1 post at 11. Then I'll do another post in the evening. So that's how you can start finding out when your crowd is online. Because it's going to vary. There's going to be people on the West Coast, people on the East Coast. I have clients that are, overseas, so I have to think about what time zone they're in. So you got to really understand where you're at, who you're targeting to. Then once you get that figured out, just watch your analytics. And like I said, it's not going to be an overnight thing, but you're going to watch it for at least a month. Then you'll find that perfect time. So when that crest is right up at the top, that's when you're going to want your most meaty post to be. Then at the evening one could be like another, tidbit, or hey, if you didn't see our earlier post about ceramic care, here's a condensed version of it. So it could be the same post, but a smaller one, so that you're trying to get this evening crowd to go back over to this crowd.
Oh, I like
you got to
that.
train your customer. You got to train them, basically.
That's
is what
a
you got to
great
do.
idea. I like that. That's a great, so kind of some A/B testing there and just figure it out. So
You got to. I mean, you got to know your market. That's what a lot of people, they think, oh, social media, I'm going to put it out there. It's going to go viral. I'm going to be big. I'm going to be a hit. It's not that way, especially in business. If you're a celebrity or, in the public eye, yeah, you do things and it'll go viral. If you do something stupid in front of a camera, there's a high chance that you might go viral. But if you're trying to get your business to be professional and talked about with people and shared, be consistent, be professional, and watch your market. I mean, watch your people that you're going to. They will tell you when they want to hear things from you. It may change from month to month, season to season, so you got to be aware and follow that analytics. So that way you can move your post so you're always in that sweet spot.
God, I love it. That's a great idea. Now, right along with that is targeted advertising.
Mhm.
Right now we're getting more than anything a lot of questions on should I cease my advertising and marketing? Should I just stop it? And I'd love to hear your response.
I wouldn't cut it completely. If you don't have the budget to continue at the pace that you're at, I would cut back, but I would not cut it completely, because what you're going to do is your competitor next door, he's going to be still in it. You're going to go out. He's going to go in. So guess who they're going to see? They're going to see your competitor. They're not going to see you anymore. So what I always tell my people, especially at times like this, just back her down, bring it down to here. Maybe you're at, 50% of your advertising budget was social media, well, now maybe bring it back to 25, save some of the other cash, for, a bill or something else that you might need, but don't leave it totally, and once you get into, especially Facebook and Instagram, especially our industry, those are the two big social medias for that. Once you get inside the ad side of the world in Facebook, there are so many tools inside that is given to you for free from Facebook on how to nail down your customer. I mean, say you're in Arkansas. Actually, no, let's just say, go back to my hometown. Say you're in Gillette, Wyoming. You own a detail shop in Gillette, Wyoming. You can turn around and set all these requirements. All right, my demographic is 18 through 65. All right, mostly male, and they have interest in hot rods, Chevys, Fords, go down, list them all. They have options for this. So that way, when you pay your money with Facebook, it's going to go just to that thing. Instead of being a shotgun where it's going to everybody, it's going to be in people that are more apt to buy your product, service, or whatever. So you got to know your your market. That way you can target them. Use a sniper to get the most for your money instead of using a shotgun to see how many you can get.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
That's a great advice. And you can do that for literally a few dollars a month. A few dollars.
You can do it. Yeah. I mean, you can go as low as, I've seen very successful return on ad spend. There's a little client that I have down in South Miami, that they run like they sell little knickknacks, and they don't have a big thing. It was a mom and pop shop. Okay. And I kind of turned them over into doing, some Facebook ads. I go, it's a little widget, put it on there, you see what happens. They're like, well, we really don't have that much money for an advertising budget. They're thinking hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I'm just like, spend $20 a month. I go, that way it's just constantly grinding in the background.
Yep.
And now that $20 is getting them almost $30. For every $1 they spend, they're getting $30 back. You can't beat that. That is, great return on ad spend. I was talking with Facebook a while back, and, they called me up asking me, how things are going. And they're looking over one of the clients that I have. And I started asking them, and I go, well, I kind of always freak out if it gets below like 20 ROS. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. Like, well, we always tell people 5 to 7's good. 7 to 10, you're doing better than people. Anything above 10, you're really knocking it off. So they started looking through the thing, and they've seen all, 40s, 50s, 90s, 20s here, 30s there. They're like, well, whatever you're doing, just keep going, because obviously you got this knocked down. So you want to don't be scared if you set out a campaign, especially on Facebook, and you only get like a 2 ad spend, 3 ads, ROS. So basically, for every $1 you spend, you're getting $5 back, $10 back. That'd be a 10 ROS. Don't don't be scared at the beginning, because you're still trying to find that little niche. Once you get that little thing is going to make you so much money.
Absolutely. No, that's great. That's great input. I mean, you can target it all the way down. If you have a big employer in your area, you can target after people there. You could target after Teslas in your market. There's a lot of different ways that you could do that and really minimize the amount of spending that you're doing.
Yeah. Hold on one second, Renny. I gotta say bye to my daughter. She's going.
No,
to
you bet.
her,
While you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and go over to the other slide. We'll go
love
right
you.
into
I
the
see
next
you.
one.
I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. All right. Sorry, my daughter just.
No,
went down
you're
to her
good.
mom.
That's all priority, man. It's all about family, especially right now, right? I mean, it's everything.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about something about elevating your public image. It's a good time for some spring cleaning. Is that,
Yes.
I'm watching the world burn in some
Scary,
sort.
ain't it?
It is, because some people are so negative, and if you think that your client base isn't seeing that, they are. And so I think that, if you've tried this, I love it because Michael Jordan said it. I say this all the time, is they asked him something political one day, and he goes, "Look, I don't make statements like that. Republicans and Democrats both buy my shoes."
Yeah.
And
Right.
if it's not true. So really, looking at your public image is that being honest with one another, going and looking at your competition and seeing what they're doing on social media. Don't you think this is a great time to kind of clean things up and go through and really sharpen up what you're putting out there online?
I totally agree with you on that. And one of the best things to do is have a friend that's a non-biased friend and tell them, hey, take a look at everything that I'm doing and tell me if there's anything that piques your interest or stands out to you. Because you're so close to the fire, you're not going to get burnt. You're not going to see it, where if you get somebody that you trust that's honest with you, or a colleague, or, a mentor, somebody, have them look at what you've been doing and get feedback, and take it to heart. Criticism isn't negative. It's just showing you, hey, I think you could do this better. You could be doing this better, and feedback is number one thing that makes you better. Is if you don't hear it, how are you going to know if you're not doing it right?
Boy, that's great advice. And sometimes the worst people to ask are the people that you're closest to, as a wife, spouse, child, brother, sister, mother, especially
Mothers.
grandmas. Don't go there, because they love you too much. Go to somebody that you respect in business, that's got a really good, mind for business and marketing and so forth. Maybe somebody that maybe a client, that you're close to. And if you're secure enough, ask them, hey, what are we doing? You should be asking that all the time. Is that I don't ask people what I'm doing right. I ask people what I'm doing wrong.
I always ask how I can improve. How do you see that I can improve?
Absolutely. So that's a great point. And so I love that. So let's go into this real quick as the rest of the world is. Chris, any questions? And then Yancy, anything that you wanted to cover? I know we had some slides there. Is there anything else that you wanted to kind of add to this that was off the charts or anything?
No, we hit most of it. Basically what I would really look at, if you're take these as considerations depending on your budget. I mean, you can do all of these even on a very, very small budget. There's a lot of things. There's traditional ideas, online ideas. I think we covered most of that. But the traditional ones is look at your business cards. Are they old, tatty? Do they need a facelift? That goes all back down to corporate image. Do you have direct mail? Do you have postcards, flyers to give people, when you're done and you give them, you're handing the car keys back, or, whatever business you're in, do you have a pamphlet or something that can continue on with them so that way they don't forget you? Send thank you cards, maybe a week, 2 weeks after that, and you're like, hey, just wanted to check up with you. We really appreciated you trusting us with your car. Or, like I said, whatever. This applies to all businesses. We really enjoyed working with you. Hope that we can do it again. Either you can offer them, something there, or what do you call it? You can just be sincere about it, newspapers, you can look at your local newspaper, especially in our industry with car detailing and everything like that. Usually every paper in the United States has a weekly used car, new car section. Buy a little ad in there. I mean, they're dime on a dollar, $50 or something like that. Your local chamber of commerce's, post community billboards, online billboards. maybe even, especially in ours, cars and coffees are everywhere. Go there, hand out business cards, talk with people, get to know the people that are in your world, and the biggest thing that I can say is you can look up to people, but just don't copy them, don't try to become something that you're not. That's the biggest thing that I see a lot of businesses and a lot of mom and pop shops, they struggle with, because they'll see XYZ company and they want to be like XYZ, but they're 1, 2, 3 company, and they get lost in translation trying to be something that they're not. So just be truthful, be honest, and trust me, it will go farther than faking it until you make it. I guarantee you that.
Absolutely. Back in the day, they called business cards a calling card.
Yep.
And people present it. I think your business card is one of the most important things that you can have in your arsenal, because it can linger and it can stand out, or it can blend in. And so, our business cards are completely a weird shape. It's very identical. Really, really
feel the weight of them. Yeah,
That's
it's the
exactly
weight. That's one thing that I always try to tell people is, if you're going to spend money, anything on your business, and you want to actually spend good investment, is your logo, which it always blows my mind. People, how much do you do for a logo? You do this for like $50. I'm just like, you do understand that's the one thing that everybody's going to see. That is what people are going to recognize. No, I'm not going to do one for $50. Is pay good for your logo and your business card, because that business card, get a different weight. Like you said, maybe round a corner, get it a different shape, make it where it's see-through, get it where it's something that's different. And it's not the same as everybody else, and it's not going to get lost on a desk, or it's not going to get lost in a wallet. And that's one thing my son, somebody's calling. My son is really taken that to heart, because he's up in college. He's about ready to finish up. He's doing the same thing I am. He has competition coming after me. But he showed me his business card. I'm like, yeah, that's a really nice weight and stuff. And I go, I know he's a college student. I know what his budgets are. And I go, you could save a little bit of money off the get-go if you cut that down a little bit. He's like, yeah, but that's one thing I'll never do, because that's what stands out. I'm like, you're very right. I'm glad that you're thinking that way. And he's a young kid, he's starting off.
Yeah.
But no, all that, just look at your shop, any business actually. I mean, this pertain, I know we're detailing stuff, but it kind of transforms across everybody. Is, do you have signage outside? Do you have a vehicle, a company vehicle, put a wrap on it? Is it clean? That's a big thing. I hate seeing that when, people are running around trying to get your business and they pull up in a dirty car. Maybe that's just me. Your merchandise, do you sell like little things, t-shirts, or maybe you have detailers, little do not wash thing when people take it to a dealership, have a little card that they put on their rearview mirror, something like that. Uniforms, is all your workers nice, clean, kept, or they, look like you just drug them off the street? These are things that people cue on. You may not think of it too much, but when people are willing to give up money and turn over high prize items to you to work on, these are the things that are subconsciously going in their mind. Is like, well, that employee had holes in his jeans, and that sign was falling off. I don't know if this place has really got it all together. So if you got to look at yourself as a package, and right now you have time on your hands, get the brome out, maybe go down to your sign shop and get another vinyl made for your front window, so it isn't cracked and falling off. There's a lot of things that you can be doing.
So Josh Buckler's got a great question. I'm back and forth between Divi and Eliminator, page builders, and WordPress. What would you suggest or use?
What was that?
It's Divi, D-I-V-I, or Eliminator, page builders, and WordPress.
I would do, depends on how familiar you are with the software and that one. What I tried to do is I try to make, for all of my clients that I have, I try to make it as simple as possible. So I'm just giving them the text boxes to turn in. But if you're working it all from on your own end and doing it yourself, make it as easy and something that you're able to understand and work with. You know, don't try to learn something to overcomplicate the process if you already knew how to do it somewhere else or another way easier.
No, I like that.
Answered you?
Yeah, that makes sense. Dan Smith, two-part question. I'll get into the second part later. How do I carve out a niche within the detailing industry as an expert of a particular topic procedure?
How to be there, be talking, to be out there in front of people. I mean, they're not going to know about you if you're sitting in the back waiting for people to come. You've got to be, if you're the owner of the company, you got to be the face of the company. You got to be out there grinding the streets. I mean, a buddy of mine, the one that I was talking about, I don't know if you guys can see it, that sign, right
Over the other way?
freaking out. That one right there. Well, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but grind hard. All right. That's his theme. And it rings so true is that you really got to get out there and perfect that niche. If you're just doing coatings or you're just doing paint protection film or just doing tinting, perfect it. Get it down where there is no question that you are the best one at it. And that is how you'll get that niche of people. But you've got to be out there and can't be afraid, can't be shy. Definitely not shy.
And Dan, I'll say this: it's not necessarily the best detailer in the world that is recognized as the best. It's the best marketed detailer in the world that's recognized as the best. You've got to market yourself, and then also you've got to bring value to it. You've got to be able to take and be the real deal. You can't kind of learn while you earn. You've got to stand out in that niche. Right now, it's really loud within two things. We've seen the coating
YouTube.
loud, and then interiors. Right now is almost embarrassing in our industry, and so I always like to go to something that really stood out. Was my niche, and so I was lucky. I started out in detailing jet aircraft or planes, and that kind of made that my niche. But in our markets, we had niches. We were paint correction. This is before coatings, which led into coatings. We went into interiors and then jet aircraft. And the jet aircraft was kind of the hook, is that, when they saw us working on these beautiful jets, is that they'd say, wow, if they're good enough for that, they're good enough for their car. What they didn't realize is a lot of times, other than size, the cars were a lot harder than the jets.
Yeah.
Now, the second part of his question is how to get a product sponsor and or association with somebody. That's a tough one because I'm going to take a look back. What are you bringing to that manufacturer?
Exactly. Reputation. That all comes back on your reputation.
Yep. And I can tell you there's two people in the world right now that I know that could make a living strictly off of their endorsements. And that's myself and Justin. I don't know if there's anybody else that
he's a hustler.
He is. And, Justin listened and he was already on a good path when we met, and he just took that path and blew it up. And it's really difficult. And you can see there's a lot of people that can get, product sponsorships, but what are you going to, and I won't even say a lot, is what are you bringing? I mean, Buff and Shine has done a great job with their demo team. So you got to be standing out in the industry in a positive way. You've got to have some history behind you. A lot of people want to take and go out and they want to be, world famous 2 years in, and it's pretty difficult to do. And you
got to check the ego at the door.
And first off, don't be looking for it. I never went out with that purpose, nor did Justin. And I think that, just don't look for it. Just go make it to where they approach you. You don't have to approach them.
Exactly. No, it is very true. I mean, I'm always looking for people, for either for geek or, somebody that would be credible that I could do videos with, or, for other industries also that I work in. I'm always looking for somebody that is believable, knows their stuff. They're not going to BS you. They're not going to fake it till they make it. And it's somebody that has been there, that has learned. And, going back to, you said one thing is marketing, if you market yourself and everything. The thing is there's people out there that are very, very, very good at marketing, but they can't back it up. Right. But yet they still have a following. That's why a lot of these YouTube certified people that are out there now. They're big, they're viral. They went viral because they cleaned a dirty car or whatever. Just because of this industry. But the same thing is, do they really know? Do they really do that? I mean, I've found some of the people that I've watched online, they've only been doing it for a year. 2 years, and they hit gold with one video, and somebody shared it, and next you know they became viral. Now they're a big thing. So it's
Well, the other thing is
just know your stuff.
some of those people are going to be disappearing here over this current situation. And, and so, you know, there's no foundation. So I think the key is to make yourself more, I think that the thing is to put yourself on good foundation.
Exactly.
Is build up your company. Sponsorships aren't going to pay the bills for a while. You're going to have to get even, you know, there's a lot of people. You look at Larry from Ammo. You know, he's done a great job on YouTube and so forth. He was one of the early guys. You know what I'm saying? He got in at the right time. Can you still do it? Absolutely, you can do it. But you got to decide, what do you want to be and what's going to pay the bills. Is that
do you want to be a salesperson or do you want to work? You know,
I mean,
exactly
exactly.
what it comes down to.
And I can tell you, it's being a spokesperson or having this, it comes with a lot of responsibilities too. It's not as easy as people think. So, yeah, Dan says thank you. Hey, Jason, this is Jason asked us this. This is going to be towards you solely, Yancy. Is what's your thoughts about starting a YouTube channel?
I would say yes. It highlights your work. You can use it for social media posts. You can turn around and people, I mean, you got to think, Google's the #1 search engine. YouTube's the #2 search engine in the world. Okay, so where do you want to be? Do you want to be over here in La La Land where nobody's at, or do you want to be in one or two places? So I would definitely start a YouTube. You don't need all the fancy equipment. I mean, I got bunch of equipment, just put it that way. Renny's been behind the equipment, but the thing is you don't need all that. The technology now, I've shot TV commercials straight from my phone. There's footage that I did on TV from an iPhone. So the thing is just set your camera up, have a nice little mic, or be in a quiet room or whatever, and start and learn. The only way to get better is to learn. The day that you think you know it all is the day you know nothing. That's what I always tell my kids, and I tell myself that every day. But the thing is you don't need all the fancy lights and everything. Just start, and as things grow and you get better, then maybe invest some of the money that you're making from what you're doing into better equipment and so forth. Just same thing that you would do if you're detailing a car or something. You know, don't look for overnight fame, but yeah, I would highly recommend being on YouTube, because then look at it this way. If you're on a website without any videos on there talking about you, who's really talking to your client? Just your text and everything, correct?
Right.
Whereas if you have a video that is on there with you talking, hey, I am Jim Bob, I'm from ABC company, and I'm here to tell you about us and the reason why you should hire us, and give, you know, build credibility that way, then they'll be reading the stuff while listening to you, and it's a little bit more of a social connection, so they'll be more apt to turn around and think that you're a reliable company.
I love it. I love it. That's great input. Josh says thank you. WordPress, Jimmy says, yeah, WordPress for sure. So Mark Nelson, hey Mark, how's it going, man? So Mark has an interesting side gig or maid gig. Jason says thank you, by the way, Yancy. Mark's a great guy, good friend of mine. So he asked off the subject, wanted to ask, I work for the movie industry, and sometimes I travel for a month or more at a time. My question is, how do I do a job like this and still stay in the detailing industry? Hopefully in a couple of years, I will be full-time. It's hard to keep clients when I'm gone sometimes. Thanks for your input.
Well, you got 2 feet in 2 different worlds right now. That's what's going on. Been there, done that. It's hard. It really is. It just comes down to scheduling. Would you agree, Renny, on that?
It does. It really does. It's, you know, I think that, Mark, the biggest thing is to be transparent with people. I think that some people are going to love your gig, and they're going to love the fact that you're hustling so much, and they're going to wait for you, and others won't. And it's okay. The others that won't, they just won't. You lose out on that, right? But I think that if you tell your story right, and you just tell people that it's Jimmy adds, just transparency is the key for Mark to kick ass. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
I, for one, I mean, I'd probably get flustered sometimes if I had to have something done, but knowing your thing up front, I would probably, unless it was a dire emergency, I would wait for you, you know, if I liked you. So be likable, which we already know you are. Be nice, be transparent, as Jimmy just added in there. And like you said, it's Yancy said, you've got your foot in two different worlds. You just got to try to blend them as good as you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I've been there before. I mean, when I first started my Deadline Graphics way back when, I was working any odd job that I could find, nailing shingles on a roof, what do you call it, mowing yards, doing whatever I could, and trying to start a business at the same time. So I know what it's like when you're doing this and you're trying to be, so the thing is perseverance and what do you call it? It's just go for it, do it.
Communicate with people, be honest with them. They're going to support you. The ones that don't, still communicate with them too, because they might like you better. They just have needs that are a little more consistent. So I think that for you, having a newsletter and letting people back know when you're going to be home, when you're going to be available, what you're doing, why you're doing it, you're at your end of the career in the movie industry. Here's your goal. I would buy into that story because I myself have had to build. Yancy's had to build. I would buy into your story, Mark, simply because you're telling the story.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So, okay, let's see if we got another one. Let's see here. User stories about the vehicles and movies to tell stories. Jimmy adds in that, I think that YouTube is, to Jimmy's point right now too, is a great way to educate your client base. Yancy, don't you? Is you guys at AutoGeek, you guys do a great job of educating and bringing products to the market and bringing knowledge about those products to the market. I think you switch that around a little bit and you just teach people about the services you're doing and why they want to do them.
No, I totally agree. Education is key. I mean, educate. You cannot educate people enough. And the more that you do that, the more that you seem knowledgeable and more that they're going to refer you to somebody else because you coming across very knowledgeable. So yeah, educate.
Dan Smith has a wonderful suggestion for you, Mark. And he says, use the other world to build your client base.
Very true.
People that are in that same industry, don't be afraid to use them. Go to that industry because they got the same challenges. So, Mark's such a great guy, Yancy. You'll meet him eventually. He says thank you to both of us. He loves detailing and he loves his new family he's made in this last year of detailing industry. He's such a cool guy. Mark, we got your back, man. We got your back. So, hey, Chris, I think I've worked through the questions and answers there. Is there anything else on Facebook Live that you want to pop in?
We just have a couple of points some guys made. Chad mentions that YouTube is pretty fun, that there's no need for the crazy equipment. Your first set of videos will be kind of awful, but they'll get better.
Yeah, it's fun to watch your progression. I mean, I got stuff up there online that I'm like, oh my God, please take it down. But
right.
it is what it is.
Yeah. Thomas mentions that a secondary benefit of the YouTube channel is having a ton of footage to share to social media.
Correct.
And then and Chad also comes back and says that he still has some revenue coming in from the monetization on YouTube, even while he's shut down right now. It's not much revenue, but it's something.
That's cool.
That is very true. I forgot to mention that. I should have mentioned that too. Is, once you get to, I think it's 1,000 subscribers, I think it is, and X amount of watch hours, you're able to monetize your site, your YouTube, and then you make money every time your video plays. And it's something that it can be very lucrative. Don't expect to make millions right off the beginning, but what do you call it? It is something that could be very lucrative. So yeah, I'm glad to see that you put that into place a while back and you're actually having the fruits of it come through and you need it. That's awesome.
So, I got another one real quick. Rick Kolb is asking about customer reviews, how important they really are. And I guess to elaborate on that, good ways to get them.
Ask. Don't be afraid to ask. If you can't tell, I have no shame in my game. I'll ask for anything. The thing is when you say you turned over their car, you're giving them a service, ask them if here's a little review card, or can you send us a review on Yelp or whatever. More people are more apt to do that. You can, even if they turn around and give you a review, maybe $5 off, $10 off their next thing, something that you can incentivize them to give you that review. But most of the time, people these days are more than happy to give you a review. I would just ask or send them.
That's a great point. You know, I took and I went to a dermatologist recently, and right before I walked out, they had an iPad, and they go, "Hey, would you mind writing us a review?" And I'm going to tell you, it was a doctor's office that was ran like a Gucci store. This
I
place, no, I'm
was
not.
wondering why you look so good today.
Look at this. Look at this. You know, no, it was, it was an amazing experience because I'd never been treated like that at a doctor's office. And so I went, yeah. And so I wrote the review right then and there. And I thought that was brilliant because they had just
Mhm.
they had it right there set up. And all you had to do is log in and go. And when I got home, I looked at their reviews. They've got like 700 reviews.
Yeah,
And they're like
that's
all
another
4 and
thing.
5 stars.
Yeah. I mean, that is exactly what you can do. You could have a little iPad there and, invest in a little computer or something in your lobby and have them type it up right there. I just want to piggyback one thing. This was posted, I can't remember what group it was on, and it kind of ties into everything right here. Somebody posted it as a picture of a sign, and it says fear, and it has two meanings. As I hold up 4 fingers, figure that one out.
I was following you.
But you're following me. Has two meanings: forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. The choice is yours. So when
Ooh.
it comes to business, face, what fear are you going to do?
A lot of people are
That
running
out there.
right now, and I don't blame them. You know, I've got a sticker on the back of my old flight helmet from Search and Rescue, and it says "Stop screaming. I'm scared too." Uh, and right now we're all kind of nervous because really, the one thing I can tell you on our side of it, that the way I'm viewing this is a lot more than one thing. I know I'm going to survive this. I'm going to be alive when it comes through, hopefully, but I am. My
Mhm.
family's going to survive this. My business is going to survive this. I'm going to help others in the meantime, and I'm going to have fun.
Exactly. Hey,
I-
what else you can do right now is you're going to get close and reconnect with people you probably haven't talked with in years. So
Amen. Amen. Well, we're doing this. This is, something that I've wanted to do, and communicating with good friends. And, you mentioned people during your talk today that I'm going to call and check on and get them on this program, because
good.
people and viable. So it's funny because every single one of these that here I am hosting it, I've taken a page of notes away from hosting a webcast, so if you're not getting something out of what's available today, and there's so much going on right now in the car care industry that's way cool,
Hmm.
we're
Don't
concentrating
ever stop learning.
yeah, we're concentrating on the internet bullies, uh I'm not anymore. I don't even listen. I just went delete, exit this membership, exit this,
Hmm.
or I just go in and they say something bad at me and I just go ha ha ha, and that really pisses them off even more. You
Yeah,
just their heads blow up. But I'm concentrating on the people that are helping people, and that's what that's all I want to do is I
that's
want to
all
be.
I want to do.
Well, it's obvious because you're here. So let's see. We got another one. Ernesto Fuentes. Hey, Renny, I met you at detailing.com anniversary. You're one of the few persons that changed my detailing point of view, and I want to thank you for doing this for us. Thank you so much. Ernesto, you're very welcome. I'm humbled. Thank you. I don't know how I changed your viewpoint. I'm glad I had an impact on it. I bet that you were probably already on your way to looking at things through new eyes already, and I'm just getting credit for it. But thank you. It's all about helping other people. And I'll mention one thing before we go. I'm trying to dig up old mentors and people that are important to me. Somebody I haven't mentioned a lot is my wife. Is that she's been through thick and thin with me, and right now as we face all this, is that both of her and I have recognized that we're not touching each other enough, meaning that we're just not hugging. And hug the people close to you. Don't for I know we're all in survival mode, but for those that are A types, you're driven right now. Just don't drive people away from you. Make sure.
Sure.
That's why when you stop to hug your kid, that's not an interruption. That's a good part of life. So, Chris, anything else on that part? Ernesto, thank you so much for the kind words. It's much appreciated. I hope we continue to make an impact, positive impact in your life and your business. Chris, anything else on that side?
I think we're doing pretty good. Nothing else that I'm seeing. trying to monitor 3 different things here, but I think we're all right. I tell you
I've
what,
been in Chris's shoes, so I know exactly what's going on with you right now.
because I'm monitoring all of it, I'm going to go back and listen to this one again. You know, this was full of a lot of information, and I know I'm going to listen to it again. So that's awesome.
Well, here's what I love about having Yancy is when you're dealing with Yancy, you know that you're getting it from his gut, his brain, and his heart. Is that there's no bullshit in it. He's got a lot of experience in his life and so forth. Look at his attitude. I love the fact that you got your playroom there. You know, guitars in the back. Share it quick because you're a music guy. Oh, I got one more question for you too. Is that my brother right before my mom passed away last year, I had to get my brother some help. He had some struggles in life. And for the last 5 or 6 years, he is a master level guitarist.
Oh, cool. I aspire to be there.
he is unbelievable. He really, had he not run into some of the struggles he did earlier in life, he probably could have been one of the greats. He's that good. And he's really into blues, jazz. He's just, God, he's got such an ear for music. And Chris was listening to his LPs. He put a post up, Chris did, that he was listening to vinyl. And I made a response, and I said, I listened to music I hadn't listened to in years too. Somebody came back on and said, what were you listening to? And I said, my brother play.
Ah,
That's cool.
awesome.
It's amazing to hear his passion, and he's staying with us right now. And every once in a while, I'll hear him in his room, and he starts playing. And I turn the TV off. It's him. Everybody else is asleep. I'm on the couch, and all I do is I just sit there and listen to him play. It's just amazing. So I love your passion. That's why I gravitated. My brother was something I never was. I love music. Music is a huge part of my life, but I was never a musician. He got all those traits. And so I lived through him through the music because, I play guitar and, oh my God, everybody runs for the hills.
That's me singing. I can't sing. I wish I could, but I can't.
Well, hey, one last thing. I see some ink on you. So who designs your ink?
Couple.
Yeah, who designs
I do.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of everything. Everyone that's on this arm, I did myself, drew and tattooed myself. All the ones on this arm, I drew. Then I have a buddy that did them. But everything except for the ones that are on this arm have been drawn and inked by myself.
I couldn't do that to myself. It'd be like pulling your own tooth, man. You're a tough dude. Well,
yeah, to me, it's like somebody drawing on you with a pencil. So it's not for everybody. It's okay. You're a big teddy bear. We know. It's okay.
I always tell people you don't put a tattoo on a Ferrari.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
Hey, man, Yancy, I just want to take it. I want to thank you. Actually, I do want a tattoo. I know I'm going to get one. I know what I'm going to get. It's just now finding the time to do it. I will end up with it. I've waited for the right moment. The right moment's here, and I've got the person to do it and everything else. So, hey.
But I always tell people if they're getting ready to do a tattoo, get it drawn up, have it pictured, sit it down for 3 months, pick it back up. If you still like it, then go get it. Don't have it where it's just, okay, I saw this in a book, now I want it, or I saw this online, I want it. So just make sure it's what you want because it's there forever.
It is. Well, hey, man, thanks a lot for joining us. Tell Mike and the gang that we said hi. And
I will definitely do that.
Guys, stay safe. Thanks for the time. How do people reach you if they want to reach out to you?
They can reach me on Facebook is the best way. I'm always there. Yancy Martinez on Facebook, or if not, just look up D-Line Studios on the web. And that is where I'll be at. But there's only one Yancy.
There you go. All right, buddy. Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us. You take care. We'll talk to you and see you soon.
All right. Thank you. Tell your wife I said hi, and we may have to postpone our selfie this year. Me and your wife always get a selfie together at SEMA, so maybe this year might be postponed, but we'll get one.
Let's hope not. Let's hope we can get together. So, all right, buddy. You guys take care.
Right.
Thanks for coming in.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.